Aloha. Today we're going to look at numbers, anything to do with numbers. And so the first thing you recognize, of course, the word helu represents the idea of a number. And so you think about numbers, we start off by, of course, in counting. And whenever we count, we will first notice in Hawaiian, of course, the representation of zero. Of course, is represented with the word ole, or even the word aole can be used. But ole, of course, meaning zero. And then when we count, ekahi, elua, ekolu, and we notice from 1 to 9, we always start the numbers with e. So ekahi, elua, ekolu, eha, elima, eono, ehiku, evalu, eva. Now sometimes you might see the word, for example, instead of ekahi, you might see the word akahi or alua and so forth, where the a is used. And they're very similar, The kind of big difference perhaps is when you think of using the word akahi, alua, akolu, think of like the meaning of first or second or third, especially if there's some kind of series. And that's basically the difference in meaning. But then whenever we count, we use the word ekahi, elua, ekolu. So we should never just say kahi, lua, kolu. In written Hawaiian, spoken Hawaiian, you hear that in quick counting. But in regards to written Hawaiian, it's always written with the a in front. Now, when we get to the sense of 10 or tens, we use the word umi to represent 10. And when we count from 11 to 19, we sort of simply think of using the word umi, which is 10. And really what you're saying is 10 plus and the digit. And there's different ways you can actually express the plus. The common one is the word kuma. So think of 10, and then kuma is kind of like the plus. And then when you have a digit, for example, like 11, we say umi kuma kahi. Now you notice there is no a here. And like I said, from 1 to 9, you have that a sound. So it is not umi kuma ekahi, but umi kuma kahi, umi kuma lua, umi kuma kolu, umi kuma ha, umi kuma lima, umi kuma ono, umi kuma hiku, umi kuma valu, umi kuma iva. And of course, that a sound is dropped. Now, sometimes instead of the word kuma, you might hear people use the word kumama. Kind of more traditional. Umi kumama kahi, umi kumama lua, umi kumama kolu. Same thing. And so this is how we express from 0, ole, all the way to 19. Umi kumaiva. Now, when we hit 20s, let me kind of erase this. And so if I wanted to make the expression of 20, in Hawaiian, we have the word iwa kalua. Iwa kalua is the idea of 20. Now, where does it come from? That's just a traditional word that we use. Iwa kalua, which means 20. But in the same way, system-wise, if I wanted to say 21, same system. Iwa kalua kuma kahi. And again, I use the word kuma in that idea of kind of like plus and so forth. Iwa kalua kuma kahi, iwa kalua kuma lua, iwa kalua kuma kolu, iwa kalua kuma ha, iwa kalua kuma lima, iwa kalua kuma ono, iwa kalua kuma hiku, iwa kalua kuma valu, iwa kalua kuma iva. Very same way. Now, when we get to 30, and really think of 30 all the way to 99, we have a different set or different prefix that is used. And we start to use the word kana in the front. And I kind of say kana, think of kana meaning tens. Like a set of 10 is a kana. Now, so if I'm going to express the idea of 30, right, we know that 30 is 3 tens. Therefore, to make the expression of 30 in Hawaii, we say kana kolu. Now, you notice that not kana e kolu, but kana kolu, 30. To say 40, kana ha. 50, kana lima. Kana ono, kana hiku, kana valu, kana iva is 90. Not a good way. Again, very systematic Hawaiian. If I'm going to have an expression, for example, maybe like 36 in Hawaiian. What is 36? Well, it's 3 tens, kanakolu, 3 tens, and plus 6, kuma, and that 6 sound, of course, ono. So we know they say 3 tens, kanakolu, plus 6, kuma ono. How about a number like 87? Same way. Yeah. 8 tens, kanavalu, 80, plus 7, humahiku. And this is how we count all the way to 99. And then the expression of 100, yeah, haneli, or 1,000, yeah, kaukani, and so forth. So in English, Hawaiian, again, we look at modern Hawaiian, is really based upon the English number system today. So, just to show you, if I had a number like 17,342 in English, yeah, 17,000, same way, I would express that as 17,000. Umi kumahiku kaukani, yeah, umi kumahiku kaukani. 343, kolu haneli, 43. Kanaha kumakolu. Yeah, how about another number like 63,218? Same way. 63,000 kanaono kumakolu kaukani. Yeah, 63,000 kanaono kumakolu kaukani. 218 elua haneli plus 18. Yeah, umi kumavalu. So again, kanaono kumakolu kaukani elua haneli umi kumavalu. So you notice again, very much like English. Now, what about dates? Well, let's look at some dates. Yeah? If I wanted to look at the date right now, the year 2019. That's what we say in English, 2019. I could say 2000, elua kaukani 19, umi kumaiva. Ikamakahiki elua kaukani umi kumaiva. I could say 2019, and that works too. Ikamakahiki iva kalua umi kumaiva. That works too, just like in English. Now, what about, maybe you're talking about I was born in 1987. Yeah, born in 1987, same way. Ikamakahiki umi kumaiva, kanavalu kumahiku would be more common, yeah? People really don't say I was born in the year 1987. Now, could you say it that way? Yeah. Yeah, kamakahiki, hokai kaukani, eiva haneli, kanavalu kumahiku, but you can see, just like English, it's a lot easier to say makahiki, umi kumaiva, kanavalu kumahiku. And that's the basics of numbers that we use, especially when we count. So another thing to remember, whenever we count, let me just add, whenever we count, we always use the word ekahi to represent the number 1. Yeah, versus ho'okahi, which we'll get into next. Ho'okahi, which is used as 1 as an amount. So one big term to remember, whenever you're counting, we say ekahi, a digit, ekahi. Whenever we give an amount, we say ho'okahi. Okay, let's move on to our next topic. So, as I just started to get into, whenever we're talking about an amount, and this is the thing to remember, this is an amount, right? An amount meaning how many of something. Yeah, I'm going to give you how many of something. It's an amount. The question of, how many people in the classroom, how many chairs, how much money do you have? Anytime it's an amount, yeah, we use this particular form. And the good news, it's very similar to counting. Some major differences. The first thing you notice is that the representation of 0 is ole, but the representation of 0 as an amount, the idea of none. Yeah, nothing exists, none. And we express that with the word a'ohe instead of a'ole. So we see the example, a'ohe i'a. Really what it's saying is 0 fish, or no fish at all, a'ohe i'a. Yeah. Now, as we just shared, whenever I give an example of a number as an amount of 1, as an amount, yeah, so it's not ekahi elepani unless I'm counting ekahi elu ekolu, but whenever I'm giving answering the question of how many, ho'okahi,
always represents one as an amount. Okay. Now, when we get into just the basics of explaining how much or how many of any item, anything that you might have, yeah, it's pretty simple in that whatever the number is and whatever the thing is. So, for example, if I wanted to say 3 dogs in Hawaiian, the amount of 3 dogs, it's pretty simple. Yeah, you say ʻŌlelo and ʻŌlelo. 3 dogs, ʻŌlelo, ʻŌlelo. Now, sometimes, just to add, you may notice that an amount, many times, people would put the word he in front. And that's a common expression. For example, like 2 cars. You can say ʻelua ka'a, and commonly you will hear people say he ʻelua ka'a. And the he is a sign that this is an amount. And that's a good habit to use. Yeah, 3 dogs, ʻŌlelo ʻilio, or he ʻŌlelo ʻilio. The expression of an amount, that's common also. Now, pluralizing is another way that's commonly used. Yeah, so sometimes I may have, for example, maybe I'm going to have 3 cars. Yeah, and I want to express an amount of 3 cars. I could say ʻŌlelo ka'a. I could say he ʻŌlelo ka'a. And commonly what you hear people also saying is he ʻŌlelo, and the word mau is inserted, ka'a. And mau is always inserted in front of whatever the item, the memea, kikino, or the noun is. The amount of whatever it is, yeah. And the mau tells you it's a plural. And what I would just clearly say easily, it's not that it has to be there, but commonly it's used to express the idea of there is more than one ka'a. Yeah, you have mau ka'a. Yeah. Now, how about something else like this? $6. Yeah, maybe I'm going to rep the idea of $6. Same thing. I could say eono kala, he eono kala, he eono mau kala. And really all would be correct. Again, just to repeat, eono kala, he eono kala, and he eono mau kala would all be correct. Now, when you look at large numbers, just to get an example, maybe I'm talking about 267, I don't know, people, or kanaka. In the same way, I could say ʻelua haneli kanaono kumahiku kanaka. I could say he ʻelua haneli kanaono kumahiku kanaka. Yeah, I could potentially say, which is not common, especially when you have large numbers, is the use of the word mau, which would be he ʻelua haneli kanaono kumahiku mau kanaka. Yeah. And really, again, the thing to remember, the big difference between these two, this is when you count, and this is when you're giving an actual amount. To continue on with our numbers, a common way in which numbers are also used, of course, especially with the expression of, let me just an example, right? If I said the second car, yeah? And the second car tells you there are 2 cars, but you're not talking about the first car, you're talking about the second car. And let me clarify a little bit. There's a difference between the second car and the 2 cars. Yeah, so the first thing to realize, these are not saying the same thing. This one, they're talking about one of the 2 cars, the second one, not the first one. In this one, they're talking about 2 cars, specific 2 cars. So the expression of this, you realize in this one here, second is acting as a kahulu. Yeah. In this one here, 2 is also acting as a kahulu, but look what's being described. In this one, we're talking about car, that's 1. In this one, they're talking about cars, that's more than 1. Okay, so when we translate this real simply, yeah, the second car, I know there's only 1 car. Okay, ka'a. The specific car, one of them. But which one? Ke ka'a e lua. So the first thing you learn is, as a kahulu, whenever a number is used as a kahulu, it takes on the full form, e lua, and never ke ka'a lua, but ke ka'a e lua as a kahulu. Okay. Now let's look at the other one. The two cars. Well, again, you notice the cars. So because there's more than one, it's not going to be ke ka'a, but na ka'a. Because I'm talking about more than one car. But in the same way, the kahulu is e lua. Yeah, and again, never na ka'a lua, but na ka'a e lua. And let's pay attention just to understand, this one is talking about one car, ke ka'a. This is talking about two cars, na ka'a. Translated, yeah? The car, that's number two, or the second car. The second one, the cars, where there are two of them. Okay? So that's the first thing kind of distinguish. So what we have here, kahale ekahi. So you notice ekahi is a kahulu, it's describing the house. But you notice how many houses are here? There's just one, kahale ekahi. And really what it translates to is the house that's number one. Yeah, the house number one. Not number two, number three, but kahale ekahi. Another way to express that in a similar form, it's not exactly the same meaning, especially if I'm going to use the word like first or the one in front. And instead of using the word ekahi as a number, I can use the word mua. And mua, of course, means front or first. Now we know I'm only talking about one house also, kahale mua, the first house. And from then on, just like the numbers, remember, they still take on that A. Kekeki elua, the second child. Kekeki, talking about one. Kekeki elua, kekeki ekolu, kekeki eha, kekeki elima, and so forth. And really, the numbers that you use as a kahulu are just the regular numbers and helu that we use when we count. Okay? Now, the thing to remember, a common mistake is people will say something, instead of saying kekeki elima, which is correct. The common mistake is people will say kekeki lima. And this, of course, is incorrect. Yeah. Okay, let's look at the related expression of this. Read below. And you notice it changes some of the focus. So where the first one is saying kahale ekahi, the first house, in the one below you notice it's saying the first of the houses, or the first house also. And this is just another way of expressing a very similar idea. One thing to distinguish is in the top one, they're focusing on the fact that it's a house. That's the big thing. The main thing that I'm talking about, a house, that's why it's up front. Again, in Hawaiian, anything up front is being focused on stronger. Versus in this one, they're not focusing on the fact it's the house, but they're focusing on the fact that it's the first one. Yeah. Now you notice whenever the number is used, when there's a ka'i, like ka, you notice what happens to the example of like e lima, which as a kahulu we say e lima, but whenever it becomes a kikino, we don't say e lima, so you never say ka e lima, but you're going to say kalima. Now this is why there is those confusion. So let's look at an example, right? If I'm going to say the second car, yeah, the second car, I can say ke ka'a e lua, right? It's a kahulu, e lua, e kolu, e ha, e lima. I can also express the second car focusing on not car, but focusing on second instead. So it's like saying in English, the second of the cars. Kalua o ke ka'a. So you notice the big difference in these two is that the first one focuses on car, the second one focuses on lua. But whereas in the top one, we express ʻŌlelo as the number 2 or second, as a kahulu, anytime it's expressed as a kikino here, as a noun phrase, you notice you drop the, so it's not ʻelua, but just lua. So think about the expressions that we have here. Kamua, the front one, kalua, the second, kekolu, kaha, kalima, keono, kahiku, kavalu, keiva, kaumi. So you drop the A sound. That's the big thing to remember. In this one, this A sound is dropped whenever it is used like a kikino. Yeah. Let's try one more example. Let me clarify this again. Maybe I'm talking about Kimo, and Kimo is the 8th child of the family. Yeah, so maybe it's something like, the 8th child. The 8th child. Yeah, I'm talking about one child, the child who's number 8. Yeah. Okay, keiki. And of course, is it evalu or valu? And we should recognize it's actually evalu when it's used as a kahulu. I can also express this with the ideas, the 8th of the children. Is it evalu or valu? And you actually should say valu, kavalu, or keiki. And these are two very similar ways to express this kind of idea in English, the 8th child. The thing to remind us, of course, in the top one, I'm focusing on keiki, that in fact it's a child. In the second one, you focus on the idea that it's the 8th. Yeah. So when we say kamea elua, kalua o kamea. Kamea ekolu, kekolu o kamea. Kamea eha, kaha o kamea. Kamea elima, kalima o kamea. And you should practice that over and over. Yeah. And so forth. So again, to continue on with ideas looking at numbers, especially when you're looking at the question of how many of something. Yeah, and the word ehia always represents the question of how many. What's the number? So anytime you hear the word ehia in a question, it's asking, give me the number. What's the amount? So when we look at questions of ehia as the blank space, again, what it's looking for is for the information to be filled in. So I can take examples. Like if I said kahale ehia, you know what it's asking for is the house, but I want to know what number of the house. And I could express that with the idea of kahale elua, the second house. Kahale ekolu, the third house. It's not asking how many houses are there. It's asking what number house. Now, if I wanted to ask the expression of how many houses, right, we know in earlier we would ask ehia hale. Give me the number of houses. So just to kind of understand the two differences here. In the top one, we're asking what number of the house, right? Kahale elima, the 5th house. When I'm asking the question of how many houses in general, yeah, that's just ehia hale, ehia whatever it is. Yeah. So that's a common mistake. When people say ehia hale, they're not asking what number of house. They're asking how many houses. Or if you ask the question of kahale ehia, you're not asking how many houses, you're asking which of the houses. Yeah. Okay, some other things to kind of remember. Again, ehia is always what you're trying to fill. And so when you respond to the questions of nahale ehia, you know they're asking about the number of the houses. You have more than one. Yeah, versus kahale ehia. Kahale ho'okahi. That's an amount. The house that numbers what? 1 as an amount. Yeah, only one. No other. Kahale ho'okahi. Nahale elua. The houses that number what? 2. In English, the 2 houses. Yeah. Nani nahale elua. The 2 houses are beautiful. As I shared earlier, the word he is used many times to describe the idea of an amount. So when I say nahale he umi, I'm talking about the houses. And what's the amount of those houses? 10. The houses that number an amount of 10, the 10 houses. Now, you could say nahale umi, nahale he umi, both correct. Yeah, the he makes it clear I'm talking about an out. Now, a common way to express like just a lot of something, like, you know, more than perhaps you can count, is just the expression of he nui. So I might say nakeki, the children, nakeki elua, the child numbering 2. Nakeki he elua, the child numbering 2. Again, he meaning an amount. Maybe I want to say the children, but there's a whole lot of them. Nakeki he nui would be the expression. Yeah. Let's look at some examples, and just to kind of, you know, see some examples. So, I mean, in Hawaiian, if I had the expression, you know, one house, and I'm talking about an amount. Yeah, I'm not counting, right? If I'm counting, I'll say ekahi. But if it's an amount, I would say ho'kahi hale. Maybe I have the expression 2 houses. There's more than one. There's 2 of them. 2 houses. Again, how many? Elua hale. I might even say he elua hale. I might even say he elua mau hale. Now, maybe I'm going to express the second house. Again, to remember, these 2 are different here. This is an amount. This is telling you not the first one, not the third one, but the second one. And again, as we had earlier, kahale. And I'm going to put the number, elua. When it's a kahulu, it has the a. I can also express the same idea, kahale elua, the second of the houses. And this is again, not ka elua, but kalua, or kahale. That's the second house. Maybe I want to express the 2 houses. Yeah, the houses numbering 2. Yeah, na hale, right, plural. And there, how many of them? There are 2. Oh, excuse me. So na hale elua, again, that's a kahulu. I could also say na hale he elua. It's another expression. Yeah. And I think that's it. Thank you very much.